Can we stuff any more big content into November? Let's find out. What up, viewers? What up? What up? Today is Friday, September 11th, and that means it's time for a quick recap of the week in video game news. Speaking of November, oh my god, everything is happening in November, all within a few days of each other, so let's jump right in. Earlier this week, the Xbox Series S, the smaller and more compact and, as we found out, less expensive version of the Xbox Series X, will be launching in November. It was leaked earlier this week. I believe the streamer was named, or the person who leaked it was named Brad Sams, or at least the first one on the scene. And then just a day later, Xbox went ahead and full on announced it themselves. The Xbox Series S, which wasn't really much of a well-kept secret, it had been seen on the box for the next-gen console, or the next-gen controller. So people were kind of already understanding that there was going to be two different versions of the Xbox Series consoles, and so this wasn't really a big shock. But people got to look at it. It's supposed to be 60% smaller, so very much more compact than the other console, the big brick that you've seen before. It's also got like a black circle in the middle, which I think some people had some mixed feelings about. But all in all, they came out with the price. The Xbox Series S is priced at $299, and later they announced that the Xbox Series X would be $499. And then the date was finally set. It is set for November 10th. So just a week and a half or so before Cyberpunk. And around that, 3 days before Call of Duty comes out. And Assassin's Creed actually came out right after this and moved their launch date forward from November 17th to November 10th. So Assassin's Creed will be a launch title for the Xbox Series consoles. Yeah, I think it was weird having this leak, and it kind of brought everything forward. But all in all, we got all the information we needed. I've already started to see some of the response articles from Sony saying that they got to mix up their strategy. I think when we had seen the European listings for the PlayStation 5, I think we calculated it from euros to dollars to be like $450 for the digital only version and $550 for the disc version, the one with the disc drive. And so I don't know how that would compete with like a $500 price point or the $300 one. I don't know how PlayStation is going to price their digital only version to kind of match the Xbox Series S, but that's what they've kind of said they have to do. So I'm wondering what that's going to look like. I think I'm kind of glad that the Cold War is over, and at least one side has announced what theirs will be priced at. I think there's still a lot of issues with the Xbox Series console and what the launch lineup's going to look like. As far as some exclusives, if people are concerned about that, it'll still be a box that I can play Xbox Game Pass on. So that's kind of what I've been using my Xbox for in the meantime. So that's it on the Xbox console. I decided to wear my Xbox shirt because I am an Xbox fan, but I'll end up having both. But let me know which of the two consoles you prefer. Moving right along, yesterday the Ubisoft has done their second now forward or direct style consumer-facing kind of showcase. This one was quite a bit longer. This was less than just like a direct, like a 40-minute direct. This was like there was a pre-show and then there was a post-show, and they really went in depth on certain games, and certain games were announced in the pre-show and post-show that weren't in the main body of what I guess even they would consider like the main portion of it. But it was here. It happened. The main showcase was Immortal Phoenix Rising. I'm gonna keep saying Phoenix, just because they spell it funny with Fenyx. But Immortal Phoenix Rising was really the standout title that they wanted to talk about. They talked about changing the name from Gods and Monsters to this, and that was I think that was leaked last week. Speaking of leaks, but this was the really big showcase. They announced the release date of December 3rd, which I don't quite know what that means. If this is meant to be like a big pronounced title, setting it like 3 or 4 weeks before Christmas. I think a lot of times December titles are kind of put out there as they were kind of pushed out, and then they're kind of left to kind of die in that kind of season, because I think most people have probably already bought all the video games they want to put under the Christmas tree. Although this year, Christmas or Christmas and Black Friday are probably gonna look a lot different. So I hope this works out for them. I also got a lot of very much Breath of the Wild vibes from this game. I don't know if I was the only one, but and I don't want to be reductive. The game really looks cool as an open world action RPG game, but I definitely got like a Breath of the Wild vibe from it. And thinking back to like, you know, Breath of the Wild came out in March 2017, so that gives development teams maybe not enough time to start and build and finish this project, but it definitely looks like they took something that was already ready as of February this year that got pushed later out till December of this year. So this game was already ready to come out, but they took a little bit more time with it to add, maybe flesh out a little bit more. But the art style and the way the character moves and reacts and explores the world and just kind of gave me that Breath of the Wild vibe in a good way. So I'm kind of actually looking forward to this. And I might even say I think I'm more excited about this than I am the next Assassin's Creed game and a lot of the other games that are coming out for Ubisoft. But Immortal Phoenix Rising was not the only game they talked about. They right after that they brought up a Prince of Persia remake, which, you know, looking back on it, 17 years ago, Prince of Persia came out. I think it was it for the Dreamcast? Someone correct me if I'm wrong. I wasn't really big into the Prince of Persia games, but they kind of showed the what it looked like then and what it looked like now. I think the graphics were still a little wonky right now. They still looked a little, you know, dated. But you know, bring a remake like this. I know when you say remake, I'm thinking of like Final Fantasy and Resident Evil games, and both of those are like look really stunning, really look like remade. And this one just was a little bit lower than that. It was alpha footage, so I'm not going to hold that too much against them, but it definitely didn't live up to the word remake that I've kind of grown accustomed to in the last year or so. So looking forward to it. I haven't interacted again with the Prince of Persia series very much, but looking forward to seeing more about this remake. There was also I don't know what you like a repackage of the Scott Pilgrim versus the World video game that came out 10 years ago. I had forgot that this was even a thing, and I saw Scott Pilgrim characters up on the, you know, in the traditional kind of side-scrolly brawler type games with like the Ninja Turtle arcade game kind of play style. And you know, I got really excited about this. I love the Scott Pilgrim comics and movie, and I'm excited to play this, having never played the game before. So I thought this was a really cool game, and this is kind of my first time seeing it. I'd forgotten that this had even come out at one point. So it's kind of new and fresh, and I'm looking forward to it. So the Scott Pilgrim versus the World game, and then last but certainly not least, the kind of capstone to their showcase was Riders Republic, which kind of felt like Steep. But so the way it was kind of described, I was writing down notes. The way it was kind of described was like it showed these people just like crawling down this hill as fast as they could. So I was like battle royale, racing, downhill, extreme sports thing. And then they slowly talked more and more about it, about how it's got like an MMO feel. And so maybe it's just, you know, they're going to give you this base to work with, and you're just like doing tricks, and people are doing tricks with you, and maybe you crash into each other, maybe you don't. And then they got to the part where there's like races and stuff, but it really just seemed like an MMO, but with downhill extreme sports, kind of in the same vein that Steep was, I think, 2 years ago now. So I could see what they're using when I think of games like Steep, what they're doing to make this like a bigger and more exciting kind of world to live in with this extreme sports, and you can do anything. And they showed a guy on a jet bike, and they showed a guy on, you know, with like, you know, the squirrel suit, and everybody was just going downhill as fast as they could. So that looked really interesting. Extreme sports games aren't really my thing, but I think there's definitely a market for this. So I'm excited to see what more is coming out for Riders Republic. I think this was a 21 title, but yeah, Ubisoft was really talking. And then one of the things that wasn't really showcased, and I think I saw a lot of articles after the Ubisoft Forward, was Skull and Bones has been pushed into 2021. So they didn't have any content for it here, but they will have it probably in the next Ubisoft Forward. So let me know what you thought of the Ubisoft Forward, if you liked the Brawlhalla content before, or if there was any other announcements in the post-show that I missed. A new Breath of the Wild kind of prequel game was announced this week. Nintendo talked about Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. And this is harkening back to the main premise of Breath of the Wild, is that Link wakes up 100 years later and the world has gone to shit. So what Nintendo talked about was this Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. They had the previous Hyrule Warriors games, which is very much like the kind of battle simulator, one-man army kind of simulator games that have been in the past. But this one was really focused on the story and the narrative of what actually happened during the 100 years ago war from Breath of the Wild. And so the focus on the story just like really spoke to me. I wanted to know more about kind of what happened 100 years ago to Legend, to Link and Zelda in the Age of Calamity. So I think it's gonna be a really cool game. I'm not particularly drawn to the kind of I don't know, like battle map area control kind of game that the Hyrule Warriors, and I can't think of the other games in that kind of series that are like that, but I was never really drawn to those. But this one was focused a lot more on the story, and so that's what I'm more interested in exploring more. And it also comes out in November. It comes out November 20th, so the day after Cyberpunk. So I'm going to end up buying a bunch of games, and a lot of them are just going to be sitting there while I'm playing 200 hours of Cyberpunk. But yeah, November is definitely getting more and more packed. It just took till September for everything to announce, which is, different than the normal way that we think of things. But looking forward to Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. Let me know what you thought down below in the comments. The greatest deal in gaming has now gotten a little bit better. Game Pass Ultimate will now include EA Play included for no additional cost. Just the Games Pass Ultimate will now include EA Play, which I think will give you early access to EA games. So maybe that's a selling point for the Xbox Series X right there, is that it's the first time like EA Play is coming to, or I think Origins was part of console before, but I can't quite remember. What EA's always done some weird things with how they give players access to their games. But if it's if EA Play is exclusive to Xbox, people are going to be playing it 3 days, EA games 3 days early on Xbox. Hey, that's a selling point for some people. So yeah, and I already have access, or I already have Game Pass Ultimate, and I don't typically play a lot of EA games, but if I can play Star Wars Squadrons or Last Jedi or whatever the next Respawn game 3 days early, I'm gonna be all for it, and it's just gonna be more money that my Game Pass Ultimate is worth. So I'm excited to hear that. GameStop has been in a lot of issues lately. I think every financial report they come out with, they're just like hemorrhaging money. So GameStop's been in a really bad place recently. They have closed 400 stores already of the 5,200 or so that they have worldwide, with more plans to close more in the future. So GameStop is slowly dwindling, and I think this is only hastened by the whole COVID-19 stuff. So people aren't going to many retail stores anyway, so there's already that problem. And people are going, and this has kind of hastened the transition to digital, which the game soothsayers have been saying has been coming for decades now. But I remember spending a lot of good times in a GameStop, but they look like they are starting to dwindle out. Still definitely not gone from the face of the earth, but they are slowly losing more and more coverage as they close more and more stores. So let me know what you think of GameStop slowly going under down below. Mario Kart Live Home Circuit is now available for pre-orders. The RC cars, I think we saw this in the last Nintendo Direct, or the Mario Anniversary Nintendo Direct from last week or 2 weeks ago. Mario Kart Live Home Circuit is the one where you get the RC cars that are controlled by your Switch, and then they drive around your apartment or house, or maybe even outside. this, they're now available for pre-order. I'm already starting to see sold outs coming up. So if this goes any way like any other physical product that Nintendo puts out, whether it be Ring Fits, which are hard to get, amiibos, which are hard to get sometimes, Labo is, I don't think necessarily is very hard to get. Even Switches have been out at one point. So if I know anything about Nintendo and physical products and manufactured restraints, this will probably sell out, and then everybody will be on a waiting list trying to get more and more. So I would say buy it now if you can. So I haven't pre-ordered yet, but I'm definitely it's definitely in my shopping cart right now. So buy your Mario Kart home circuit if you want to get your RC cars before they're sold by some third party for 3 times their value. Moving right along, Annapurna is putting out a collective of games. They're putting out 8 physical games in a limited edition $200 game pack. Annapurna, known for a couple of big titles, but the 8 that are in this are Donut County, Kentucky Route Zero, What Remains of Edith Finch, which I definitely loved that game, Telling Lies, and everyone's favorite, The Outer Wilds. There was 3 others that I can't quite remember, but I'm a big fan of Annapurna. I've been slowly realizing their name on more and more of the published games that I like, those kind of indie walking simulators that I've come to love. So, and I think a lot of the time have been digital only games. So if you're looking for a way to get a physical version of them because you like collecting physical media, then this could be for you. I don't think $200 for 8 games is necessarily a bad deal either. And this has a lot of the classics that I haven't actually played, Donut County or Telling Lies or even Outer Wilds. But if I buy this collection, I might do that. So let me know what you think of the Annapurna Collective. I'll have a link down below if you want to check it out. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 will be having a legendary combo contest this weekend. So starting, I believe, yesterday and going through the 16th. They're on, I don't know if it's exclusive to PlayStation, but that's where I saw the article. But so if you're playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 plus 2, the idea is that if you can land the longest or sickest or most different tricks used or most highest scoring trick, and then you post it via PlayStation Share with the hashtag THPS Legendary Combo, you could win a prize, which I think the main prize is that you get like a 3D printed statue. So I don't know if this is just like a Tony Hawk statue or if you can like get your own character built in 3D printed. I think there was 5 or so of those prizes, and then there was other prizes for other participants. But I've definitely been working on my Tony Hawk Pro Skater combos. So I've got my idea of what my legendary combo will look like. But if you want to participate in this, I think this is a really cool way to show off. I even have the calluses on my thumbs to show off all the crazy tricks that I've been doing in Tony Hawk. But yeah, let me know if you are doing something like this. I think this is really interesting, and I don't think there's a lot of investment I think this is very on brand. So that's kind of what I was going for. I think that's very on brand to have kind of this legendary tricks showcase, and the game's been out for a week now. So yeah, I think that's given enough time for people to remember back to their old Tony Hawk days, 20 years ago when they were playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 for the first time. Some of us on the N64 and some on the PlayStation 2. But yeah, this has been I've been really enjoying my time with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, and I'm looking forward to participating in this combo contest because I think it's fun and low stakes. So looking forward to that. One of the big games climbing up the charts right now is Among Us. I think it's number 2 or 3 on Twitch right now. It is like climbing up the Steam sellers charts, so it is definitely one of those games that has just come out of nowhere. The game's actually been out for 2 years. I think in 2018 it launched on Android first in May, and then in June it launched on iPhone, and then it went to PC like a couple months after that. But the whole rise to fame has been documented by this Gama Sutra article that I have a link down below. And all of a sudden, it just blew up. It's like, if you see any of the sales charts or anything like that, or the Steam, even the Steam reviews, it just goes from like 0 to 100 in like a week. So I've definitely enjoyed my time playing with it. I think if anybody likes social deduction kind of board games, this is a perfect game for the COVID times to kind of get everybody on Discord and accusing each other. It's very fun. It's got a very board gamey kind of feel to it for those board game fans out there. But it was just kind of interesting to hear about this game that has went, you know, from relatively unnoticed to all of a sudden everybody's playing it. All the top streamers are playing it. Angela's watching it in the other room. It's a really fun game, and its kind of rise to glory is actually pretty cool. So let me know what you think of that down below. Last but certainly not least, Fall Guys is now, you know, speaking of fads that have come out of nowhere, Fall Guys is still up there, still one of the big titles for this year. Fans are starting to make their own levels in different level editors, either using Fortnite or Minecraft, or one of the ones I saw was Trials Rising. I think the Ubisoft again motocross kind of game. So fans are starting to make, you know, there isn't a level editor in Fall Guys, but fans are starting to find their own outlets to kind of make up their own games. One of the ones I saw was just kind of like Swiss cheese. Then like there's just random holes in each of the platforms and you have to like jump across. I thought it was really cool. You have to check it out in the down in the description. But you know, I also kind of started thinking, like, would I enjoy Fall Guys if it had like a level editor? Would I play other people's levels? And I was like, I'd rather have like officially curated levels. But people definitely, you know, creative types out there definitely want a creative outlet for this game that's kind of, you know, taking over the globe. And I think this is an exciting thing to see, and hopefully some of those ideas actually make it into the game in future seasons or in future content drops. So I just thought it was really cool to see, you know, how some people are starting to think about different levels, and it really is, you know, just, you know, it takes a second and then all of a sudden like you're like, oh, that's really easy. That's a really great concept for like a Fall Guys level. So I'm looking forward to more official Fall Guys content, but I hope that people continue to show off their creations of what Fall Guys could look like if they had a level editor or some kind of other creative tool platform. So yeah, let me know how many crowns you've got and what you think of Fall Guys and Among Us, because I'm definitely playing that. I might even be playing it right after this. But thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy this content. If you do, follow, like, and subscribe to me on YouTube and Twitch so you can see more great content like this. Links down in the description below. Thanks again. I hope you have a super day. I hope you have a super weekend. And I hope you have a super day. Bye!